Hey guys, welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations. We are on very last part. Um, and if Katie's feeling froggy, we'll do a questionnaire afterwards, but that'll probably be its own separate episode. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we are on the very last part. So, let's get to it. The final countdown. It's the final trial. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Okay, I did save. All right. Now then, before we proceed any further, I'm going to announce the results of the tests we had performed earlier.
Tests?
Yes, tests on the bloody dagger that was found stuck in the pine tree.
Oh, yeah. That. I totally forgot about it.
That's the weapon that Maya Fey used when she fought with the victim.
So what are the results? Was it the victim's blood, or...?
Due to time constraints, a full test wasn't possible. However, there's one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood. That is all. Now then, let's restart this trial.
So it wasn't Misty's blood on the dagger. Then whose was it?
Dagger. Found stuck in a pine tree in the Inner Temple Garden. The blood doesn't match the victim's. I'm sure both the defense and prosecution know this. But this trial is rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some firm evidence with their claims.
I understand, Your Honor.
From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking. So, let's finish this quickly.
Agreed.
Very well. Please bring in the last witness. Oh, I wish she had left her hair down. She's so pretty with her hair down. Not that I don't love her with her bun, but... Witness, please tell us your name and profession. Maya Fey. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Wright & Co. law offices.
Maya.
According to the magazine I have here, you're a spirit medium of the Quran channeling technique. I'm frightened. The Fey clan, I don't want any more to do with it.
Oh, Maya. The pain of the Fey bloodline caused must be unbearable.
Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the event occurred, you were in the garden of the Inner Temple, and you witnessed the moment of Miss Elise Stodium's murder. Is this correct? I didn't see any... Straighten up this instant, young lady. Huh? Pick your head up and speak clearly. There's always time for crying later. But I... Your mother was killed right in front of your eyes. There's nothing you can do to change that fact. But there's something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out, and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Now it's your turn. Let's hear your testimony. On the night of the crime, what exactly did you see happen? Witness, if you please. Yes, Your Honor. Yeah, our last witness is Maya.
Yay.
Oh, it hurts. Our last witness of the whole fucking trilogy. I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly, someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against the stone lantern. I think I screamed, "Help me!" Then something warm splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness. So you were struck on the head. I suppose it must have been the staff.
Maya, the person who hit you. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I don't know who it was.
Maya, think hard.
Sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't. Huh. Can't say it was an especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. It seems that it will be hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your cross-examination.
Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look well at all. Who else was at the Inner Temple side that night?
Well, Sister Bikini, of course. But I remember her saying that Iris would be coming later as well.
The day after the incident, Edgeworth met with Bikini at Hazakura Temple. That means she couldn't be the criminal. So did Iris actually come later like she said?
Well, let me think.
She seems confused. It's probably because she's so tired.
No, I'm sure I didn't see her. She must have come while I was preparing for the training.
Who did it? Who hit you?
Well, I didn't see who it was. I was hit from behind.
You didn't see the person? But after that, your attacker was in front of you. How could you not see who it was?
Oh, let me think for a sec. I'm sorry. I just can't remember.
Maya's really having a hard time. What should I do? Leave her be. Considering the condition at the crime scene, it's not surprising she didn't see her attacker.
Huh. So it looks like even you've got some compassion. Judging by the testimony thus far, the identity of the attacker was most likely...
The spirit that was channeled by Elise Donim, Dahlia Hawthorne.
Very well, please continue with your testimony. What happened after you were struck on the head?
What happened afterwards?
My attacker was in front of me, blocking off my escape. I think.
You think?
After getting hit like that, I was in a state of panic. There were only two things rolling around in my mind at the time. Well now, this is beginning to get interesting.
So, what were the two things rolling around in your mind?
My name is Maya Fey. 1 + 1 = 2. You see, for some crazy reason, I was afraid I was gonna lose my memory. I know it's odd considering my life was in danger, but that's how it was.
That's not odd at all. Your actions are understandable given the circumstances. So, what did you do then?
Also because she knows Nick lost his memory after he got brained.
You think you screamed, but you're not sure.
Listen, I was a complete wreck. It was dark and I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits.
Believe me, my dear, I'm certain I would have had soiled my robes.
I thought this person might attack me, so I... Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed. I thought that it was my last hope.
Wow, it sounds like poor little Maya really was out of her mind. But I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do I do? Do I press her for more details?
My last hope. What do you mean by that, Maya?
Wait a minute, Maya. What's this my last hope stuff?
What? What do you mean by your last hope?
No. What you said my last hope.
Huh? What? I said what?
Ugh. Look, you were facing an attacker you couldn't see and you screamed, right? You screamed, "Help me."
Yeah.
But you testified that you screamed that because you thought it was your last hope.
Oh, well, you know, that's like what you call it. What do you call it when that happens?
Maya's not doing so well up there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at.
What did you just say?
Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker I was yelling at. That's who I was screaming to for help. Ah!
What is it now?
I messed up. I didn't mean to let that slip out.
Huh?
Witness, are you absolutely sure of what you're saying? Behind the attacker, there was another person?
I am. Well, I meant to keep that part a secret. What have I done? It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say. A ton of pressure? You're in a court of law here. You can't make things up or try to hide things in this chamber.
Witness, the information you just presented is vital to the case. I want you to add it to your testimony.
I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern.
A man? Who was this man?
Well, you see, I couldn't see.
You couldn't see? She's used that excuse twice now.
Well, you know, lantern light isn't very bright.
Lantern light, did you say?
There's a great big stone lantern in the garden. They always light it when an acolyte is there for training. Hey, you know what they say, under the lantern, darkness reigns. So I could see the person that was further away, but not my attacker who was closer. Plus, there weren't any other light sources in the garden at the time.
You don't mean... Was it...
I didn't know it at the time, but... I think it was probably blood.
She's saying that when Miss Donim... that's when Miss Donim was channeling Dahlia? Was stabbed in the back by the killer?
At that moment, I was paralyzed with fear. I was just sitting there in the snow. I'm sure blood got on everything around me.
So what happened next?
I don't remember. How were you saved? You don't even remember that. No. I haven't got any idea. I really don't know what happened at all. That's too bad.
I've worked side by side with Maya for 2 years now. I can tell when she's trying to hide something by how she acts. And right now, I'm absolutely certain she's hiding something.
Okay, well, we've already got a lie here, Maya. Stone Lantern's wick was fucked up. A lantern from the inner temple garden was not lit the night of the crime. The wick is fucked up.
So there was a man standing behind your attacker.
Yeah.
That man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. He's the one who killed Elise Donim, otherwise known as Misty Faye, your mother.
The killer?
Maya, you know who killed your mother, don't you?
What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
To be frank, Your Honor, I think she's in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony.
Huh? What do you mean? What problem?
Maya. On the night of the crime, the Stone Lantern was out of commission.
Huh? What?
It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night.
No!
Oh, order in the court. Mr. Godot, explain this.
Add the pureness of milk to the perfect clear darkness of coffee. Stir. That is the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of cafe au lait. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm very sorry, Katie. I don't drink coffee.
I don't either.
I'm sorry.
Cafe au lait? Is that even legal? Aji!
Sir! We're in a very serious moment. Mr. Trite's words are the milk, and you are the spoon, Your Honor.
I'm a spoon? I'm no spoony bard, I'll have you know.
Thank you for that Final Fantasy reference, Ace Attorney. I love you so much. You must have noticed it too, Trite. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. It's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that.
Sorry, but that's not going to cut it.
What did you say?
If there was truly no light in the garden, then there's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony.
Nick!
May I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said she didn't know if it was a man or a woman, an adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker. And she quite clearly described him as a man. In other words, that would mean that Maya actually saw the mysterious person, despite it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of her own attacker.
No!
Order! What in the world does this all mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Faye saw the real killer under pitch black conditions?
Objection!
Wright, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen in the dark? There was no other light source at the scene.
Objection!
There are some things that can only see in the dark. Sorry. There are some things that you can only see in the dark, Mr. Gatto. Maya, did you see who the killer was in the dark? And now you're trying to cover for him?
Cover? For the man that killed her mother?
There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is.
Please, Nick. I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you. Huh. You talk a good game, Trite, but let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black, so what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff. No, Nick, don't! Please, stop!
Maya's dead set on protecting this guy. The man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother. But I can't let her get away with it. I'm a lawyer, an officer of the court. I'm here to find the truth.
All right, Mr. Wright. Time to show us what you've got. Who was this person that you say Miss Faye saw in the darkness?
Oh, we actually have to name someone.
Yep.
Is it who I think we have to name?
Who do you think we have to name?
The actual killer?
Yes. Because it was pitch black, Miss Faye was able to recognize the killer easily. I'm sure the court would like to see how this was possible, yes.
What? But how do you propose to show us something like that?
It's easy. We just need to recreate the conditions of that night.
Conditions?
Your Honor, the defense officially requests that all the lights in this courtroom be turned off.
What? This is... But it can't be.
Huh. That was a nice bit of deduction. Trite.
Well, everyone, this is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder.
Order! 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 Prosecutor Godot, what is the meaning of this? Surely you must be shocked to hear yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it? Huh.
Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person.
What do you mean by that?
If you've got a question, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night was 3 glowing red lights.
Well, witness, answer the question.
You're wrong. I never saw that.
Maya!
I thought the person that stabbed my mother was a man, but for a totally different reason.
What?
Witness, Mr. Wright,
Stop your chattering, Your Honor.
Chattering?
If it's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules.
All right. Well then, let's continue with the testimony. Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man.
Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize it until after I woke up, but... When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit, and the body was gone. And all the snow around the stone lantern had been carefully cleaned up, too. Since the person who did all that worked alone, I just assumed it was a man.
So it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor,
No need to apologize. It's as Mr. Ugodo said, you're utterly exhausted. It's only natural that you would be a little confused. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume the culprit was a man. Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
So you lost consciousness when you were in the garden. Is that right?
yes, I think it happened when the victim was stabbed. Oh,
So the person who carried you into the inner temple...
It could only have been the killer.
that's what I think, too.
So the killer carried Maya into the inner temple. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right?
Yes, I think so.
But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been some reason that the killer desperately wanted to hide.
I don't know.
It looks like she doesn't have enough confidence. I think I need to gather some more information before I ask her again. The torches were lit?
Yes, that's how I noticed that the whole scene had changed.
I'm going to say it was the killer who lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be?
The killer probably lit them since it'd be impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. However, if that's true, there's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go to the effort of moving the body?
That's true. It's hard to see how it would be any advantage to the killer. The only one who would gain anything from it would be the only person in the inner temple, Maya.
Very well. Let's hear some more about the condition of the crime scene.
So you're saying the killer cleaned up the snow? It did really look really odd. The snow removal in an unnatural looking rectangle shape around the lantern.
There were a lot of shovels around the inner temple, but they're all really heavy. Way too heavy for me to use.
An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take snow away?
Well, there's one thing I can think of. Didn't you say that a lot of the victim's blood sprayed onto the snow?
Yeah, the area I collapsed in ended up being splattered.
In other words, the killer's purpose was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation.
Perhaps. However, there's something that's bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with blood on it, there was no need to remove that amount.
That's true. You could have just scooped up just the snow that was stained with blood.
It looks like there are some mysteries behind this issue.
But I think this will help explain them.
So you're saying that you never saw the killer, right?
Yes.
But earlier you very clearly stated that you saw a man behind your attacker.
Nick, I'm sorry.
The killer certainly went through a lot of trouble. Moving the body by pendulum, manipulating the crime scene. For what purpose? Why do all that? Maybe Maya knows more than she's letting on.
Okay, now we have to repress her. Here.
Yeah.
Okay. Naturally, the killer must have done it. I think so. Why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that?
The truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something.
You did?
Yes. I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me. For my sake.
What? Hiding it for you?
Everyone knew that I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come back and looked at the garden...
She may have thought that you had done it.
No, she definitely would have thought so. And you're saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. I want you to add that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. I think it was for my sake that the killer cleaned up the evidence of what had happened.
They did it for your sake?
Well, if the body and the blood hadn't been removed, I would have immediately been the prime suspect, right?
Yes, I suppose that's true.
Yeah, and if that happened, the body would have caused some other problems too. If her real identity had come out right then, it would have been terrible. The Master of Khura'in killed by her own daughter? I don't think Maya would have been able to handle it.
But still, it's rather difficult to fathom the killer's motives. What reason is there to go through that much trouble to protect you?
Now hang on, go back to that statement.
I think it was for my sake that the killer cleaned up the evidence of what had happened.
Yeah, but not all the evidence,
Was cleaned up. Yep. There's a problem though. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Oh, okay. I thought we had like the zoomed up Maya.
Nope.
But we don't. So, here, have a lantern again.
The body of Elise Donim was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple courtyard. Then, at the garden, the real scene of the crime, the snow that we suspected that was covered in the blood was scooped up and removed. It's reasonable to believe all this was done as an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, there's still one matter that seems somewhat odd.
Oh, and what would that be?
You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Gatto. It's the message written in blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya. If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why did they wipe the writing off, or why didn't they write, oh my god, I'm sorry.
It's okay, you're getting a tongue twister, it's alright.
Then why didn't they wipe the writing off the lantern?
Ah, you're right. Order, order, order. But Mr. Wright, isn't it a fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene?
Indeed, but it doesn't make much sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow. And then not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing.
Objection!
But if that's the case, do you have an explanation for the killer's mysterious behavior? Why would this killer move the body and remove all the snow, but then leave the bloody writing on the lantern?
I don't know what the killer's plan was. But the fact that the killer left the writing on the lantern, there must be a reason for it.
Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why did the killer leave the message written in blood on the lantern? Because he didn't notice it. We've already established this about, Godot.
Prosecutor Gatto, earlier in this trial you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth.
Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought.
The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that their crime had occurred here. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must mean that they didn't notice it.
But that doesn't make any sense. The torches were all lit and everything. There's no way any normal person would miss something as glaring as that.
You're right. There's no way any normal person would have.
What? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright?
There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether.
And who would that be? Who is the person that could have failed to notice the bloody writing? This hurts me so much.
Mr. Gatto, this is what you said yesterday.
My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
You can't see everything? Is that correct, Mr. Godot?
The lantern was submitted as evidence today. I would like the court to think back to the moment it was first presented.
This lantern? There's something written on it. Why, it's written in blood.
Nonsense. This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle.
Mr. Gatto just admitted it. There are certain colors you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can you?
It's ironic because Red White killed Mia. Okay, I'm gonna put myself in the corner now.
That's right. We went through this once before. During the poisoning case at Tribulations.
This is the apron the delightful Miss Bird was wearing at the time. And somehow spilled coffee on. Chat's now screaming at me for the red white comment. Look! There's no way they didn't do that on purpose. Also, did you just sneeze?
No, I coughed.
Oh, I was about to be like, bless you.
There's still something bothering me, Mr. Godot. Why have you not explained the bloodstain to the court?
Bloodstain? What bloodstain would that be?
Don't play games, prosecutor. The blood-colored stain that's smeared all over the apron.
That's ridiculous. No one told me anything about a bloodstain.
You could only see the coffee on the white apron. But you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red.
It's strange. In a black and white photo, those letters would have appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one that can't see them?
So then, Mr. Godot, are you admitting it? Are you admitting that you can't see the red writing on the lantern?
Hey, Gramps, didn't you know? That's the reason why I don't drink red tea.
I wasn't sure about it until now, but... I just can't believe it. Prosecutor Gatto was the murderer. But there's no going back now. I finally figured out the truth. Mr. Gatto, the defense at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise Donim, also known as Misty Faye.
It's hard to believe this may be true. However, once again, Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you.
Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment in red ink, Gramps. Come on, how does a little graffiti make me into the killer? Besides, it's not like it's my name that's written there.
Objection!
I'm certain that the killer wasn't able to see the color red.
This is rich. Do go on, Wright.
The answer is right there at the crime scene. In the snow.
The snow? How so?
Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. He wanted to hide the bloody snow. Why not take out just that area?
Yes, why didn't he take out just that area? Aha! Could it be?
Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood when it seeped into the snow. Sorry.
Are you laughing at chat?
Yeah.
They're just screaming at Godot incoherently because they're just very upset.
And so he had to remove all of the snow. He couldn't be sure of where the snow had landed, so he removed the whole area.
Objection!
Isn't it more likely that the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark?
Not a chance. The torches were all lit. He would have been able to see just fine.
It seems that once again, this trial has taken an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Godot?
Wait just a minute.
Maya.
What is it, witness?
Mr. Godot isn't the killer. After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up until after that old bridge got fixed up.
Objection!
Maya. You can't testify to something like that.
Why? What do you mean? I may not look it, but...
After the murder happened, you didn't even exist.
She didn't? I'm afraid I don't follow.
You senile old man. We just established this a little while ago. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, that's right.
Please, Your Honor, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me.
Yeah.
Nick.
Do you plan to cover for Gato no matter what, at what cost? If that's the case, then I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony. If it means we're going to hear the whole truth, I say we should not silence her.
Nicely done, Wright.
Very well. Let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened at the Inner Temple after the murder.
Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearlie was there at the Inner Temple, too. Pearlie was also stuck on the Inner Temple side that night. The next morning, she looked around but couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. That's when Mr. Godot arrived at the Inner Temple for the first time. He found Pearlie first and cheered her right up.
Who is this Pearlie?
That's my little cousin, Pearl Faye.
So when did you hear about this?
Oh, just a while ago, when I was in the medical office.
I'm terribly sorry, but what you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony.
What? Come on! Pearlie would never tell a lie. She's a way more honest person than I'll ever be.
Sorry.
Real smart, Maya. You always know the best things to say when you're under oath.
The prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness.
Mr. Godot?
Let's just move on to the cross-examination, if the defense has no objections.
This is highly unusual, but... well, Mr. Wright?
Let's get this cross-examination started. So where do you think Pearl slept that night?
In the spare prep room next to the training hall, I guess. There's a rule that you can't enter the training hall during an acolyte's training.
But even so, why did she go to the Inner Temple in the first place?
It seems that Pearls became very worried about Maya.
She knew that the spiritual training I was about to undergo was very intense.
Pearls was supposed to channel Dahlia Hawthorne, but she couldn't do it. That's why she headed to the Inner Temple. However, Dahlia Hawthorne had already been there, possessing the body of Elise Donem.
The next morning... Oh. Forgot?
She searched the entire Inner Temple side, end to end.
Well, you see, Pearlie gets pretty scared when she's alone. And there weren't that many places to look. She says that she even went back and forth several times.
The Inner Temple side has two structures, the training hall and the spare prep room.
And there's also a storage shack, I think. That's about it.
There was a storage shack too? Pearls was looking for other people, right? Would she really have examined the storage shack all that carefully?
Well, if it was me, that would be the first place I would investigate.
So yeah, we're talking about a 9-year-old.
So that means it's possible that someone may have been hiding in the storage shack. Yeah, what the judge said.
Pearls didn't hear the sound of them working on the bridge.
What do you mean?
I was just wondering why she would stay in the prep room. If it was me, I'd at least go out and wait at the foot of the bridge.
Oh, well, Pearlie said she was sleeping at the time. She said she was so scared during the night that she couldn't sleep well and woke up a bunch of times. Poor little girl, all alone like that.
Well, we know that she had at least one friend in the Sacred Cavern. Dahlia Hawthorne, who was busy battling with the trick lock.
She couldn't let anyone see her. So she wouldn't have shown herself to Pearls.
What happened after the bridge was finally fixed?
So it was your first time on the Inner Temple side, right, Mr. Gatto?
That's funny. Am I imagining things, or did the defense ask me a question?
Mr. Wright, please save your questions for the witness.
What you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor.
Touche, Mr. Wright. Oh, well. Oh, what do you have to say, Mr. Godot?
Hot nights and even hotter coffee. That's what I always say. If it hadn't been for this case, I never would have visited there. A freezing cold temple in the mountains. I think I'll pass.
So he had never visited Hazakura Temple or the Inner Temple? Huh?
You want to say something trite?
In any case, I have to find a way to crack Gatto's armor. While I cross-examine Maya, that is.
Very well, please go on with your testimony. After fixing the bridge, the policeman came over to the Inner Temple side, right?
Yes, then Mr. Godot...
He cheered her up.
That's what Pearlie said. She said he was a very nice older gentleman. Thank you for looking after my cousin, Mr. Godot. And here I was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict.
Cut it out. You're making me blush.
This guy's really beginning to get on my nerves, in more way than one.
The truth is, there aren't that many places to look on the Inner Temple side. The policemen were all busy going over the garden with fine-toothed combs. So I decided to carry out an investigation in my own way. My style.
I'm the same way. I like to hand down verdicts in my own way. Judge style.
Maybe I should ask some questions. Phoenix style. So you cheered Pearls up?
When I found that little girl, The first thing she asked about was her cousin, Maya Fey.
Really?
The bridge had burned down, and she was huddled up in that tiny shack with no heat. Even though she must have had a truly terrifying night out there. She asked about you before she said a thing about herself.
But, Curly?
I noticed that you weren't anywhere on the Inner Temple side, but I couldn't find it in me to tell her that. So I gave her my last cup. With milk and sugar, to hide the bitterness of the harsh truth.
What a sweet story.
He had a thermos of coffee? Why doesn't that surprise me? And why did he give coffee to a 9-year-old? There's only one thing of any importance here. He gave a coffee to a 9-year-old.
It was either that or let her freeze.
Don't give coffee to children.
She was fine.
Ugh. Where was Gato when the murder took place? He must have already been at the Inner Temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed Elise Donim.
Chat. Cafe con leche is perfect for children. Diego is a Latino. He knows this. It's true.
He also drinks just straight black coffee.
You gotta warm him up young. Chat is just like... going nuts about Latino tradition here.
I highly doubt he did that for Pearl. I highly doubt he had time to do that for Pearl.
He said he added milk and sugar.
How much milk do you think this man had on his person? I highly doubt he had an entire fucking gallon of milk.
That's true. Sugar packets aren't hard, though.
No, that's not the hard part. You said you had conducted an investigation on your own. Did you find anything?
It looks like my investigation went about as well as yours, Trite. After all, I did miss the bloody writing on the lantern.
Well, I didn't miss it, so speak for yourself, Goggles.
The only odd thing I discovered was the beauty in the training.
Oh dear lord. Beauty?
Yeah, I had a feeling that's what it was. I had a feeling that was the comment.
Let me pull up this research thing I found, earlier today, actually.
Oh my god. Are you saying that like for reals, or should I go on the line?
Go on with the line.
Oh, okay.
Misty Fey, naturally. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes.
Western taste? Could he find a stranger way to describe gravy?
So from there you headed for the prep room.
Wait a sec. What did Gato say just now? I think I just found his proverbial weak spot.
Okay. Okay, so it's the gravy. Pearl had thrown the gravy onto that, onto the scroll overnight because she didn't understand the instructions.
It was in the inner temple.
Yeah. But, okay, so Gato was saying he went to the inner temple and he found that scroll obscured by gravy, but Misty Faye's image was obscured by gravy, so how would he know that?
Right, and in the previous statement, Maya even said that he arrived first.
So, do we present it here? Because that's where we pressed?
No,
No.
on the other statement, because that's where she says that he got there first.
For the
and
first
that's
time,
not
yeah.
true.
No, for the first time,
The
yeah.
first time, yeah.
Yeah, oh shit. I did it again. I misclicked. Oh, we had to press anyway.
Sweet! It's just like I thought.
It's all according to my plan.
Gato was lying. If his first visit was to the Inner Temple was after the incident, he shouldn't know about that piece of evidence.
Very well, please go on with your testimony. After fixing the bridge,
Yep. Yeah, so that's the clue to present there.
Objection!
Either the clue or the trigger.
Yeah. Mr. Gato. The first time you crossed Dusky Bridge and went into the Inner Temple was long before the murder took place.
What? Why do you say that?
Because he just made one fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall?
the hanging scroll.
But Mr. Gato was right. That scroll's just a picture of my mother.
Maya, I know you know who it is, but there is something you don't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired, 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this.
What's that wonderfully delicious smell?
The morning after the crime, someone covered it with gravy.
Gravy? But why gravy, Nick?
Because gravy was much more than a condiment to the culprit. Well, Mr. Gatto, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have had any way of knowing that it was Misty Faye.
Wait a minute, Nick.
Yes?
Take another look at the hanging scroll. Look, at the top. There's a crest there.
Ah, that. It's the mark of the master, correct?
Exactly. So, if you know the meaning of the mark...
Then you could guess it. It was a picture of Misty Faye on there.
True. But Mr. Gatto described what was underneath. Like this. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western taste.
Oh.
Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crust meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Gatto, on the day of the murder, you were hiding in the Inner Temple long before the crime took place.
Can I ask you just one little thing? Wright.
What is it?
This whole theory of yours, it all rests on a certain assumption. That I knew beforehand that a crime was going to be committed.
That's right. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak onto the crime scene.
Of course Mr. Gatto knew of the plan.
Huh? What did you say? Is it really possible that another person knew of that plan?
Yeah.
Open once before. Yep.
Take that!
This crime was actually planned over a year ago. Morgan Fay authored the plan to her daughter's, for her daughter's future. And these instructions were hidden somewhere in the Fay Manor for a year. However, by the time Little Pearls found these instructions, they had already been unsealed.
Unsealed?
Yes. The killer had read these instructions long before Pearls had even found them. That's how he knew the crime was taking place in the inner temple.
And you still insist that this crafty killer is me.
You bet I do.
But you just said that the instructions were hidden.
That's right. Mr. Godot couldn't have known where the instructions were hidden.
If he really wanted to know, he had one great chance to find out.
Yes, and when was that?
During a visit.
A visit?
Morgan Fay told her daughter, Pearl, where the instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center. That would be the only time someone would have learned where they were hidden.
Eavesdropping on a visit at the detention center?
Yes, it could be arranged if you were someone with easy access in and out of there.
Franzi did that in the last game. Are we not going to readdress that?
Nope. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Gatto.
Order! 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 Mr. Godot, you're under fire again.
This murder could not have been carried out without prior knowledge. And you were the only one that could have acquired the information before the murder.
Humans are afraid of the dark. And yet, at the same time, we're fascinated and bewitched by it. Maybe that's why humans drink the darkness that is coffee.
Sorry for always asking, but what does that mean?
It means there's a reason for everything. According to your theory, the killer in this case eavesdropped on a conversation during a jail visit where he learned of a hidden plan for a crime. After discovering the plans, he hid in the inner temple and waited for the crime to occur. Then he ultimately took a person's life. And he did it, all of that, just to protect this witness?
That's right.
If you're accusing me of this crime, I have to ask you, why would I do this? This girl is nothing but a stranger to me. I've got no reason to go through that kind of trouble to protect her. I am what you see. I'm certainly not the type to rescue the damsel in distress.
The killer's behavior is certainly extreme, for lack of a better word. Even considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life, his behavior is still a little too unnatural.
However, you had a good reason, didn't you, Mr. Gatto? An unshakable reason that forced you to protect this witness at all costs.
I knew it. You figured it out. Haven't you, Nick?
Maya. I guess you were doing your best to cover for Gatto. For the same reason, huh?
Okay, Trite. I'm all ears. Let's hear it.
It's very simple. Maya Fey is a lot more than just a stranger to you.
What's this?
There's one person who lies at the very center of this whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fey together inextricably. Wow, I had to figure out how to pronounce that word for a second, even though I knew it.
It's alright. It's just one of the times where you're like, I know the word, I know the word, I know the word. Fuck, what is it?
Yep.
Because you would do anything for Mia Fey.
Mm-hmm.
Take that!
There's a very good reason why Maya's Fey is so precious to you. After all, she's Mia Fey's only sister.
Mia Fey.
You once worked alongside her. That was when you were a defense attorney.
Wait a second here. Mr. Godot is a defense attorney?
With your honors-piercing intellect, you must have figured it out by now. The real name of this man who calls himself Gatto. His real name is Diego Armando. Isn't that right?
The last time someone called me by that name was over 6 years ago.
Diego Armando. That name rings a bell.
It should, Your Honor. All of this is related to a single case. A case in which a convict named Terry Falls killed himself. Mia Fey's first time in court. The tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all was a heartless, scheming demoness in disguise. But in the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando, a senior defense attorney at the office where Mia worked. It's my fault! It's all my fault that Mr. Falls killed himself!
Mia, you can't cry yet. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over. was moved by her. The way she put all her faith in her clients. That pure, sweet heart of hers. That's why I could never forgive Dahlia Hawthorne. Mia and I thoroughly investigated that fake kidnapping incident. Then, one fateful day, Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since the trial. We met in the courthouse cafeteria.
I just remembered. 6 years ago, right here in this courthouse, you were poisoned.
Even I didn't see it coming. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison into my coffee.
Some newspapers at the time called it a murder. But very little information about the case was released to the press.
But you weren't dead at all.
No official reports ever actually called it a murder. I was just in a deep, deep coma.
I see.
My body shut down. My life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. That woman's poison did a real number on my central nervous system. I lost my sight, and all of my hair turned white due to the damage it caused.
That's terrible.
Apparently, it was a miracle that I ever regained consciousness. 5 years had passed since I drank that poison brew. Then one morning, my eyes flew open from the smell of a doctor's cup of coffee.
5 years? You were asleep for 5 years?
And the worst possible news was waiting for me. Mia Fey was dead. From the very moment I opened my eyes, I had already lost everything I thought I had. The woman I had loved had been murdered, and the woman I loathed had been sentenced to death.
The woman you loathed?
The woman who had spiked my scalding hot coffee. Dahlia Hawthorne. Good old Mia. She didn't let me down. She got her revenge before she checked out. In the end, there wasn't anyone waiting for me when I woke up. That's so sad. For someone like me, for someone who had slept away their best days, there were only 2 reasons left to live. And it was for those 2 reasons that I decided to become a prosecutor.
If I may ask, what were your 2 reasons to live?
The first was you, Wright.
Huh? Me?
If I hadn't drank that stupid poison, Mia Fey never would have died, much less the way she did. You were the only one who was there to protect her. But you let her die. It was all your fault.
It wasn't like that.
I wanted to see for myself what kind of a man you really were.
So that's why you became a prosecutor?
My other reason for living. She goes by the name of Maya Fey.
Huh? You mean me?
You were the only way I could make up for the sin of not saving Mia. 1 year ago, when the Kurine Village incident was resolved, it was obvious that Morgan Fey was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, I was determined to stop it. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to do something about her.
That's how you overheard Pearl's visit with Morgan at the detention center.
I knew that the time was drawing near. Since I knew the plan, I thought I could foil it. My goal was to outwit the plan. I thought if I could do that, I could keep that girl from being caught up in it.
That makes sense. If Pearls had known the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out.
Finally, the day of the plan was drawing near. I contacted both of my accomplices.
Accomplices?
Iris of Hazakura Temple and Misty Faye. I especially needed the help of Iris. She was to take the fall in my backup plan in case we couldn't control Pearl Faye.
But how did you contact my mother?
She had been missing for almost 20 years. Officially, yes.
What? What do you mean, officially?
You've heard about it, haven't you? About the strong ties between the main family and the government.
Now that you mention it, Bikini did say something to that effect. She said the Master of Crime had great authority.
Even without her official position, Misty Faye still wielded great influence. The police have been keeping an eye on her movements all this time. That's how I was able to contact her. Again, because of my position as a prosecutor.
So my mother was cooperating with you?
Don't ever forget, no matter how far away from you she was, she never stopped thinking about you.
She was always...
That's why I knew she would do anything to protect you. If you want to know how strong her resolve to protect you was, look at her staff.
Her staff? The one with the sword in it?
The day the plan was to be carried out arrived soon enough. We met for the first time at Hazakura Temple. That's when your mother showed me her special staff. I realized then just how far she was willing to go. She was ready to use that sword to protect you from Morgan Faye if necessary. Yes, even if it meant paying the ultimate price.
Mother?
That night, the night of the crime. There was just one way to stop Morgan's evil plan.
You mean Pearls, don't you?
We had to make sure she didn't channel Dahlia Hawthorne.
Well, Pearl, what are you going to do tonight?
Well,
If you'd like, you can come to my room. Perhaps we can read some books together.
We thought we could prevent her from playing her part in Morgan's plan. But she never showed up.
She was worried and followed me to the inner temple.
That was the thing we were most afraid of. And that's why Misty Faye had to do the channeling herself. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne into her own body.
What? What do you mean?
If she channeled the spirit first, then Pearls wouldn't be able to get to do it herself.
As master of crime, Misty Faye's power was supreme. So that's how it went down. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne so that Pearl Faye wouldn't be able to.
What? Is this true?
My role in the plan was to make sure no one was going to hurt Maya Fey. That's why I hid myself at the Inner Temple. Just in case you needed to be saved from Dahlia Hawthorne.
Otto.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to admit to. Trite.
Huh?
There's no doubt about it. You're a great defense. But you're going to have to do the rest yourself.
The background leading up to this incident has been laid bare. There's just one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim? There are only two possible suspects right now. Maya Fey. And I'm sad to say, you, Mr. Godot.
Well, Trite. If you're the real deal, then finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can finish this on your own.
No, Nick! Please don't!
Maya.
I heard the whole thing from my sister in the medical office. That's why I have to protect Mr. Godot. I can't do it. I can't testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia, and me too.
Maya. I know that.
Nick,
But even so, it doesn't absolve him of his crime. Please, Maya, testify.
Miss Fey, your testimony, please.
This is the final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything, because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips.
I understand. I'm sure you're right. I'm ready now, Nick.
All right, young lady. Tell us about the moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder?
Just before it happened, I think I saw some red lights. 3 of them. I thought I'd ask for help, but just then I was splattered with blood. She wasn't dead, though, and she struck back at the enemy behind her. Suddenly, the red lights went out and the whole area was dark. Just at that moment, there was a horrible scream. Right after that, Dahlia collapsed and I lost consciousness.
Those red lights, I thought you said you don't remember seeing them.
I'm sorry. I thought I saw them, but then they disappeared all of a sudden. Things break, Trite. Even the best of theories.
Hmm.
Who was it that stabbed Misty Fey? It looks like you still can't prove it.
Maya's telling the truth this time. I know it. The rest is up to me.
Well then, Mr. Wright. Proceed with your final cross-examination of the witness.
Lights shining in the dark. I don't think you would make a mistake about that.
Yeah, you're right. I think I saw them, but I can't say for certain. And I can't tell you for sure that they were from Mr. Godot's mask either.
I don't get the feeling she's covering for him anymore, but... Do we want to press harder?
Yeah.
But after that, you turned towards the lights and called for help. Isn't that because you thought the lights were coming from Mr. Gatto's mask?
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that's what I was thinking at the time. But I can't remember. After all, there was a person I couldn't identify in front of me.
Maya's life was in terrible danger at the time. There's no way she can remember the details of the scene perfectly.
All right, then. Let's go on with the testimony. What did you do when you saw the red lights?
Hold it!
That blood. Was it Dahlia Hawthorne's blood?
I think so, probably. Just at that moment, I heard a soft scream that seemed to be close by. It was a woman's voice.
So that was when the killer stabbed the victim from behind with the murder weapon. Is that right?
Without a doubt. Maya was in the middle of a really dangerous situation.
Anyway, the victim was stabbed by the murder weapon. What happened after that?
Hold it!
Struck back? How do you know that?
Well, you're right. I didn't see it exactly. But I could tell by the sounds of their breathing and movement. And also, the smell of blood.
You've witnessed more horror than any young lady should ever have to in one life. So then, what did you do at that point?
I couldn't move. I could just barely make out their shadows moving in the dark, but I had no idea what to do.
Did you still see the red lights you mentioned earlier?
Yes, I think so. But
Hold it!
They went out?
yes, suddenly I couldn't see them at all.
What could it mean?
If the red lights were coming from Gatto's mask, and they went out right in the middle of a fight.
Maybe the mask was damaged.
Or maybe it was knocked off.
Or maybe the batteries ran out. Right.
Or maybe those little red pinhead-looking lights just stopped working.
What could have really happened then?
Hold it!
What do you mean by just at that moment? Do you mean the moment when the red lights went out?
Yeah, that's right.
The scream you heard then, was it Dahlia Hawthorne?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it was a man's voice.
What? So then that scream came from the killer.
That's gotta be it.
I think Dahlia Hawthorne must have taken the blade and attacked the killer with it.
And then the killer let out a scream of pain, huh?
After that, the killer stole the blade back and delivered the final blow, I guess.
Well, Mr. Wright, it seems to make sense to me.
It sounds like a reasonable deduction, but I still kind of wonder. There's a contradiction.
Yeah, there's a dagger in the mix.
I'm sorry to say this, but that interpretation would create an enormous contradiction.
That makes sense. After all, my deductions are almost certainly never correct.
Remember the testimony she just gave before the killer let out a scream. Maya said she had already been splattered by the victim's blood. In other words, the blade and the staff had already been plunged into the victim.
Is that right?
She couldn't have struck back with the sword that was already stuck in her body. The weapon that caused the killer to let out a scream must have been something other than the staff.
If you're so sure about that, then don't keep us waiting any longer, Wright.
There's only one thing that I can think of that could have been used as the weapon here.
If Dahlia Hawthorne had already been stabbed in the back by the staff, what could she have used to strike back at the killer?
A sheer dagger.
Your dagger.
Naturally, the dagger the killer brought to the scene of the crime.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
This dagger was found at the crime scene, stuck in a pine tree.
Yes, the detective found that this morning and brought it to me.
Dahlia Hawthorne struck back at the killer with this. And she managed to wound him as well.
Objection!
Just because he let out a scream doesn't mean that he was wounded. For all we know, the blood on the dagger could have been from the victim.
Have you forgotten that the blood has already been tested? Since we learned it wasn't the victim's blood, it must be the killer's blood. The killer must have a wound somewhere on his body.
So you're saying the blood on this dagger belongs to the killer?
Exactly. A DNA analysis of the blood would prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And yes, Mr. Gatto, it would prove that it's your blood.
Nice theory, Wright.
Now, order in the court.
Is this the end? Have I done it? Even he wouldn't be able to change the results of the scientific test.
Let me ask you something, Wright. Let's just say that it turned out I was the killer. Do you really think I would be stupid enough to leave evidence like that?
What?
Just think for a second. This dagger was found this morning by a detective and brought to me. There was already blood on it, correct? But even so, I was the one who brought this dagger here to the courtroom.
Yes? What does that prove?
Well, if I really were the killer, I could have washed the blade off and then planted another person's blood on it.
It can't be.
In any case, there's one thing I can guarantee, Wright. That blood, it doesn't belong to me. Not a chance.
What?
In any event, it seems to be established that the killer was wounded. All right then, witness. Continue your testimony. Wait a minute. What's the problem?
I know I probably shouldn't say this, but there's a big contradiction in Nick's explanation.
Maya!
This dagger, you said that it wounded the killer.
That's right.
But if Mr. Godot had really been cut with the dagger, his clothes should be bloody or have a rip in them, right?
Maya? Maybe he changed his clothes. That would solve a contradiction pretty easily.
What are you talking about? It's not that simple at all. Remember back to the day of the murder. Everyone that was on the Inner Temple side got trapped there.
Ah, that's right. And once the bridge was fixed and the police headed for the Inner Temple...
Mr. Godot was already there waiting for them. He never had a chance to change his clothes.
Order in the court. What the witnesses says are wrong. Well, for God's sake.
Well, maybe he brought a change of clothes with him.
But no one could have predicted the lightning strike that shut down the bridge. Why would anyone have brought a change of clothes?
Did the judge take smart pills during the last recess?
Do you need another badger, Mr. Wright?
No.
Didn't think so.
No, I don't. Well then, maybe the killer took his clothes off before he committed the murder.
You just hear a muffled, "Oh my god," from the gallery.
That way he wouldn't get any blood on them.
Objection!
That's impossible, Trite. You know how cold it gets up there late at night.
Ugh.
After a few minutes with no clothes on, you'd be frozen solid. So that's all you've got. I knew you weren't tough enough to finish this. Right now, if Mia Fey were here... If Mia Fey were here, she would have closed the book on this case already.
If Mia Fey were here.
So come on, Trite! Can you do it or not?
How about it, Mr. Wright? You've accused Mr. Godot of being the killer several times. But can you prove it? Have you got even one piece of evidence?
The question isn't whether I can prove it or not. The fact is, I have to prove it. That's the only choice I have. I was taught that it's one of the rules of being a lawyer. I can prove it. I'm going to bring your magnificent vengeance to fruition, just as you want it.
Huh. That's good. A fighter till the bitter end, Trite. Since there's just one piece of evidence that can prove your point, why don't we go for the unlimited penalty?
Are you trying to pressure me, Mr. Gatto? Because it doesn't matter to me. I've got the one piece of evidence I need.
Give me a break. You've got nothing, Trite.
What do I do at a time like this? It's simple. I've got to think outside the box and approach it from a different angle.
All right then, Mr. Wright. Let's hear what you've got.
There's one thing I've demonstrated in the previous cross-examination. The killer was wounded, and was proven by the blood on the dagger.
But we decided it was impossible for him to have hidden such a wound. If he had been cut by a dagger, there should have been a bloodstain on his clothing.
There's one place. One place the killer could have hidden his wound.
What did you say? Hidden?
This is it. My last stand. I need to think about this from a different angle. I don't need to think about why there is no bloodstain on his clothing. I need to show how he hid the wound.
It's the end of the line. The final stop, Trite. Let's hear what you've got. Where's this location where you say the killer hid his wound?
Your face.
Yep. Profiles. Present.
Huh. I don't know what you're talking about. And frankly, I don't need to know. What I do know is that you'll never be half the lawyer she was. Isn't that right, Trite? What was that just now? Mia? It can't be. You're living on through him?
Even as we speak, you're still hiding the wound. It's beneath your mask. During the fight, the red light given off by the killer suddenly disappeared. Seconds later, the killer let out a scream. That's right. Your mask went flying off your face. Mr. Gatto, would you mind removing your mask? If you have a dagger wound under there somewhere, then I'd say this whole case is solved.
Just now, I saw her spirit in you. I never liked you. 6 years ago, you helped the woman who put me to sleep by hiding her bottle of poison. And then, while I was sleeping, you let Mia die. But you didn't care. You just kept living your pathetic, happy-go-lucky life. You even had the nerve to follow in her footsteps as a lawyer. I could never forgive you. That's what I thought.
Mr. Cateau.
But I was wrong about you. I knew it from the very beginning. The truth is, the only person I could never find it in my heart to forgive was me.
You? Yourself?
I was the one that failed to protect Mia. Me, and no one else. I tried to avert my eyes from the truth, to escape the harshness of reality. I just couldn't face Mia's death head on, so I ran. I hid behind a mask. I threw away my true name. I couldn't even deal with being a defense attorney anymore, so I quit.
But you saved Maya!
Yeah, that was my plan. Up until just now, anyway. What do you mean? Are you listening, Maya? If I had really wanted to save you, then there's one person that I should have gone and talked to right away.
Who would that be? Are you talking about Nick?
But I didn't do it. I tried to get the help of Iris and your mother, but I closed my eyes to the most important man involved. Do you know why? The real reason?
No. Why?
I suppose I wasn't really interested in saving you at all.
Huh?
I think I was just trying to salvage what's left of my own broken soul. I was trying to make up for it for the fact that I couldn't save Mia. Nothing more. That's why I let you walk right into a situation that I knew was dangerous. Forgive me.
You're wrong. You put your life on the line to save Maya.
Was it really for Maya's sake? Even I'm not really sure.
What do you mean by that?
That night, in the darkness of the garden, when I saw her silhouette, a part of me must have known the truth. The truth that it wasn't really Dahlia Hawthorne standing there in front of me. It could have been Misty Faye, or even that little girl. But I still picked up the blade. It was like I was dreaming. I'm not sure exactly what was going on in my mind at that point. Was I really motivated by the pure desire to protect Maya Faye? Or was it something else? Was it my hatred for a woman who had stolen everything from me 6 years earlier? Could it have been simply a desire for revenge? And now, I don't know anything anymore. I did learn something today, however. I finally realized that I was the arrogant one. I was just chasing an illusion, a fantasy. The stupid fantasy of defeating you in the courtroom. You were the one who made me realize my folly. You never ran away from Mia's death. Instead, you picked up where she left off, as a true defender of the people. In that one moment, I understood everything.
Mr. Gatto.
I think you already know this, but if you don't, my name is Diego Armando.
Mr. Armando, I believe in you. I know you were trying to save me.
Thanks.
Your wound. It's bleeding.
Did you forget already? In my world, the color red doesn't exist.
Oh.
These must be my tears.
Tears?
Ever since I woke up from my coma, I think I've been waiting for this very moment.
Mr. Armando.
You do well to remember this, Maya. The only time a lawyer can cry is when it's all over.
This time, it really is all over, isn't it? Defendant.
Yes, Your Honor.
Although you weren't directly involved in the murder, tampering with the body in the crime scene is a serious offense in itself.
I understand, Your Honor. Mr. Armando explained that to me very carefully. I knew the risk I was willing to cooperate anyway.
Very well. Before I hand down my verdict, is there anything you'd like to say?
Well, there's one thing. I'd like to say something to Mr. Wright. I wanted to apologize to you.
Apologize to me? For what?
For the case 5 years ago, of course.
I just remembered. Weren't you poisoned by your own lover?
Not exactly, but yeah, something like that. Even now, 5 years later, I can hardly believe it. She was going to do it. She was planning to kill me.
It's not all that surprising. The two of you, you hardly knew each other.
Huh? What do you mean?
You and my sister, you only met twice.
Huh? We only met twice?
The first time was on the fateful day. The day she poisoned Mr. Armando in the cafeteria at this very courthouse. The next time you met her was 8 months later. You met her on the day where she stole your cold medication. And Doug Swallow was killed.
No way. It can't be true. I mean, during our whole relationship, we were...
Those 8 months. The woman you thought was Dahlia Hawthorne wasn't actually my sister.
Huh? It wasn't Dahlia?
I hope one day you can forgive me, Feeny.
You mean...
That's right. I lied to you for 8 months.
But why? Why would you do such a thing?
Ever since she gave you that bottle that day, my sister was trying to get it back as soon as she possibly could. Because of the police investigation and their surveillance, she couldn't move about freely.
So, that's why you...
My sister, from the beginning, she was prepared for the worst.
Prepared for the worst?
She thought that you might somehow discover the truth. That's why she always ready to deal with you at a moment's notice.
You mean she was ready to kill me, don't you?
She already had so much to answer for. I didn't want any more sins on her soul. I begged her not to do it, and she agreed to give me a chance.
And that's why you came to me? You came to get the bottle pendant back from me in her place. But I couldn't get you to give it back. I failed at something as simple as that. 8 months passed and I still couldn't get it back from you. Finally, my sister couldn't wait any longer. She didn't consult me about her plans for you that day. It was the first time that had ever happened. That was a bit strange, wasn't it? Up until that day, you two were partners in crime, and she would confer with you. I think she must have noticed. Noticed what? My feelings for you. If I had found out she was planning to kill you, I would have done whatever was necessary to stop her. Even if it meant her life, or mine. Iris. After spending those 8 months by your side, my feelings towards you, they changed. I have something to say to you, too. Yes? You really are the person I always thought you were. Even after Dahlia Hawthorne was found guilty, I still believed in you. Thank you.
How many cups of darkness have I drank over the years? Even I don't know. I'll tell you though, right now, this one here is the greatest cup I think I've ever had. Don't you think so, Phoenix Wright?
Yeah, I think you're right.
The purpose of this trial was to rule on the murder of the victim, at least on him. At some point, I expect you will be tried for your role as an accomplice in this case.
I understand, Your Honor.
Very well. On the charge of murder, I hereby find the defendant.
Not guilty!
Oh my god.
Court is now adjourned.
You nearly made me cry with the thank you. I'm sitting here misty-eyed. I went out on a whole, like, Godot rant and ramble, and just your thank you just undid me completely. Even though, fuck both of you, actually. Are you crying?
Woo!
Oh god, the end of this game always makes me fucking cry, dude. No? Are you just saying that? Yeah, you're just saying that. You're full of shit.
Saving face, we see
You're
you.
full of shit. Oh.
So I guess it's all over now. The way everything ended, was justice really served? The man who risked his life to save Maya is being sent to prison by my own hands. Of course justice was served. But Mia! I'm proud of you, Phoenix. Your defense was truly brilliant. But I couldn't save Mr. Armando. The man who cared so deeply for you. You're wrong, Phoenix. You did save Diego. You saved him in the only way possible.
Do you mean with that verdict?
I think one day you'll understand too. Phoenix, I want you to remember one thing. You were as good out there as any defense could hope to be. There's nothing more you can learn from me.
Mia!
You accomplished something I wasn't able to. I owe you a great deal. Thank you.
Mia.
I'm sure we'll meet again. Someday, Phoenix.
I've handled a lot of cases and seen a lot of things. And along this journey, I found myself asking just one question. What does it really mean to defend someone? I suppose today's case produced one possible answer.
Nick.
Maya!
I guess it's just like my sis said.
Mia? What did she say?
That night, when I channeled Mia to get her advice on what to do, this is what she wrote back in my notebook. Don't worry, Phoenix will save everyone in the end.
What?
Come on, cut it out with the gloomy face. Can't you see? Me, Sis, and I'm sure Iris too. We owe you for everything you've done for us, Nick.
Maya. How? How can you be so bright and chipper after all that's happened? You were brutally attacked. You saw your mother murdered. Ouch! Francisca!
Still as soft as ever, Phoenix, Wright.
Excellent work, Wright. Uh-huh. Mr. Edgeworth, when did you get back?
Oh, that's right. I guess no one filled her in on that. Oops. Edgeworth and Francisca have actually been helping me.
Helping you?
If these two hadn't been here the first day of the trial...
Wait, Mr. Edgeworth was a defense attorney?
No, Maya, just,
Like his...
it's a touchy subject, don't bring it up.
Like his dad?
Don't, shh.
No, I'm just whispering to you. Like his dad?
Yes, it's touchy, just, we'll talk later.
But he did it for you.
Yes, I know.
Nick!
We'll talk later.
Nick!
Francisca's here, she has her whip ready. I don't want to talk about this right now.
Oh, screw that, Nick!
Hi, Francisca.
Hi, Miss Fun Karma. Hello, Nick and I are just whispering together, not conspiring at all.
The defense wouldn't have gotten anywhere.
Wow, but where were you, Nick?
I heard he fell into a river and caught a nasty cold, which forced him to sleep all day.
Yes, he laid in bed shivering from his fever with Iris's hood pulled over his head.
Oh, ouch! Talk about embarrassing, Nick. You definitely need more training. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Edgeworth. And you too, Francisca? Is that me?
I think that is you.
Let me check which me it is.
I just like that which me it is.
Yeah, there's a couple of me's it could be. Sorry, I'm looking at the thing. Transcript. Yeah, okay. It's not who I originally thought it was, so that's a good thing, because that would have been really fucking weird. You need more Miles and Franzi being catty bitches? We'll wait until we get to investigations. You're gonna get it, and it's gonna take forever, because they just go off. I don't suppose there's room left for me in this group hug, is there? Oh, Larry.
What's with the, longer than usual face?
I realized something when I was reborn. I realized that Larry was never of use to anyone. Not even once. That's not true, right, Nick?
What? Why are you asking me?
He helped with Mr. Edgeworth's case. We were
I'm also just...
we were quite literally, like, dead in the water.
Yes.
Well, Nick, is it true? I've got a place in this world, right?
Huh? Oh, yeah, of course, Larry, of course.
I knew it. Everyone would be better off if I recovered good.
No. Oh yeah. Those portraits you painted, they were really good. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
What?
Come on.
What? Why?
Come on. Come
Right.
on, buddy.
Right.
Come
What?
on.
What?
Otherwise you're going to watch a man literally kill himself, come on.
Oh, he's fine. He's not going to do that. What? Me? Why are you making that face? Oh, Angie! Well, yes, indeed. I certainly can't say that they lack resemblance. Do you really mean it? What about you, Franzi? Did I draw you well too? Ah!
My beauty can't possibly be captured by mere crayon. Nevertheless, I recognize the effort you put into, and that's worth something.
So then you'll do it? Like you promised? You're gonna model for my next picture book, Franzi's Whippity Winter.
Don't get carried away.
Well, how about that? I guess painting portraits is the only thing I'm good at. The painting of Pearl is pretty darn good too, if you ask me. Pearlie draws a picture of Francisca. Franzi puts it on the fridge. Oh, she absolutely does.
Oh yeah.
Huh? Now that you mention it, I haven't seen her around.
Pearls? Where could she have gone? Normally she would have made a beeline for Maya.
Oh, I'll go look for her. Be right back. Hey, Pearlie! Right. You seem to be uncharacteristically puzzled. I suspect you're wondering how Maya could be so cheerful despite all that's happened.
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't understand it either.
Francisca. That's right. She lost her father fairly recently as well.
I think I understand how she feels. Maya is a much wiser person than she appears, and I think she realizes something. Now is exactly the time when she needs to be as strong as she can.
What do you mean by now is exactly the time?
Maya wasn't the only one that was badly wounded by this incident. In fact, there was someone that was hurt far more deeply than she. I believe it's for that person that Maya is trying her best not to cry.
Someone who was hurt more deeply than Maya? Edgeworth. I think I'm starting to understand too. Ow!
Then tell me, Phoenix Wright. Who is Maya Fey being strong for?
Pearl. Loving this fun and funky and calmer and wiser Miles. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He grows so much from like this case through the end of Investigations 2. And it's in the span of like 3 weeks.
He has an eventful month.
Pearl Fey?
Poor kid. After all, the reason she worked so hard to follow the instructions was because she loved and believed in her mother, Morgan. It's for the good of the Fae clan. I'm sure she believed every last word. She thought she was doing it for Maya. That's why she was so happy. It shows how truly devoted she is to Maya.
But it's a cruel irony that it was her exuberance that led to this tragedy. Maya Fey's mother was killed, and Maya herself was put into the deepest peril imaginable.
And that's exactly why Maya's putting on a brave face. She's doing it for Pearl's sake. Until she can see her smile again.
Oh, hey, so this is where you all were. Wow, looks like we've got quite the bunch here today. Ouch! What was that for, sir? Ow. My spine.
Sorry about that, Scruffy.
Are you sorry, though, sir?
My whip just seemed to have a mind of its own.
What's up, Detective Gumshoe?
Oh, you know, this and that. Anyway, congrats on your win. Let's go out tonight, pal. Dinner's on me. My salary's just sort of kind of gone down by a teeny weeny bit, but it's all right. I made reservations at a first-class French restaurant tonight. Ah,
Pretty good work, Scruffy. That whip was your reward.
Detective Gumshoe.
I nearly spit out my Coke between you and chat. Did you, Gumshoe? Did you?
You said first-class French restaurant. You don't mean...
Très bien, where else?
I knew it. We're doomed.
Come on, let's all go, everyone. We can't keep Maggie waiting, pal. Hey, you, crybaby, you're invited too.
Oh, forget about me. Pearl and I will be at the loser shack eating potatoes.
You know, Maya's taken an awfully long time to get back. She's still out looking for pearls. Oh, Maya. What's wrong?
Nick, what do I do? Pearlie, I can't find her anywhere.
Huh?
I'll bet she just went back home. That's all.
I thought so too, so I called the village. But no one's heard from her. This has never happened before. As I figured, she's been badly hurt by this incident. She feels responsible for the tragedy that has befallen you, Maya. But none of this was her fault. What should I do?
Detective Gumshoe,
Yeah, what is it, pal?
could you guys go on ahead.
But what about you?
Maya and I will... We'll join you guys once we find pearls.
Nick?
Don't worry about us, Detective Gumshoe. We may be a little late, but we'll definitely be there. We have a lot of celebrating to do tonight, and I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Yeah, but you're the... Ah!
Very well, Phoenix Wright. We'll go on ahead.
Don't keep us waiting, right?
We won't.
But where should we look? Where can Pearly have gone?
Let's go, Maya. There's only one place I can think of that pearls might have gone to.
Scratch us, replace with me. Don't keep me waiting. Miles is very confused right now. Iris kind of threw a wrench in things. Hazakura Temple.
For pearls, I bet this is a very important place.
How did she get a 2-hour head start? I mean, it is Pearl.
She's small and fast.
Yeah, she is. She is small and fast.
After all, it's where this whole incident started.
Watch this. You're all back again so soon. Sister Bikini? I thought we'd be eating mashed potatoes alone tonight. So she's here? Pearly's here? She's in the training hall. Why don't you hurry along and go see her? Okay. Pearly's not here.
Ah. Maya, the hanging scroll.
Ah! Someone cleaned it off.
It's gotta be pearls.
Ah! Mystic Maya!
Pearly! Why did you just leave like that?
Mystic Maya! This is Mystic Maya! I swore that I would never trouble the two of you ever again. Because it's all my fault that Mystic Maya's mother.
And that's why you came here?
It's the least I could do to pray for your happiness.
You don't have to do that, Pearly. It wasn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. Of course I'm sad that my mother is gone, but how do I say this? I'm still happy.
You don't have to lie, just to make me feel better.
No, really, it's true. The only reason I'm still here at all is thanks to everyone who was there for me.
Huh?
My sis, my mother, Mr. Armando, Nick, and you. If even one of you weren't there, I'm sure I wouldn't still be alive right now. That's why I have to be strong. For all the people that were there for me when I needed them. That's all I can really do.
Mystic Maya.
I'm impressed. You really are the daughter of Mystic Misty.
Sister Bikini.
Your mother, Mystic Misty, was a strong woman indeed. I want to tell you what she said to me that night.
After dishonoring the good name of Karine, I don't have the right to face my daughter. But still, Maya is always in my thoughts. It's true. She'll always be with me until the day I die.
Your spirit was with her. That's why your mother was so strong. Even at the end, I'm sure she had no regrets.
She'll always be with me until the day I die, huh?
Huh?
There's a rule or something all masters are to follow, isn't there? And never take the charm off until the day you die.
That's Master's talisman!
The thing that Misty kept by her heart and would never take off. It wasn't the container that was important, rather, it was the contents.
But that's...
Photo!
Mother. It's your favorite photo, Katie.
Mm-hmm. It's only natural for living creatures to fight to protect their own lives. But that's what makes us human, is that we fight for others. But who do you fight for? How hard must you fight? That's the true measure of what a human life is worth. We defense attorneys are warriors who are constantly challenged by that question. Even when the battle is over, and the bonds that connects us are severed.
That is one of the best CGs in the
It
trilogy.
is.
Oh my god, look at baby Maya's face!
I know.
Like little Mia. Oh. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna look at it for a second because oh boo boo boo. Look at the babies. Capcom. Why are you so good at drawing little babies?
We always return, time and time again. Mia, Maya, Pearls, Mr. Armando, and Maya's mother, too. I learned that from all of them. Well, shall we get going? Everyone is waiting.
I didn't hear that go through. There we go.
This is a day to remember. A day when a lot of things were finally put to rest. I think we should celebrate what we've overcome today.
But I still can't.
Oh, go on, sweetie. You can come back for training anytime.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna make a brand new start too. Sister Bikini, I'll be back for more training, I promise. I know, and I won't go easy on you just because you're the future master. I'll make sure to prepare reservations for 3 when you come back. All right, we're gonna have a great feast today, Pearly. You know why? Because training is a battle of endurance.
Okay, Mystic Maya. I'll eat lots and lots of food tonight.
You know, there's one thing I don't get, and probably don't want to, but
What is it, Nick?
reservation for training is fine and all. But why for 3?
Come on, what do you think? You're one of us, Nick. Next time you can train right alongside us.
Huh?
I'll be waiting for you. Sister Bikini will take special care of you.
Huh?
It'll be great, Nick. We're gonna do the special course, naturally.
Oh. Huh. Huh.
That's a great idea. After all, Mr. Nick, you'd do anything for Mystic Maya, wouldn't you? Even walk over hot coals, right?
We'll have a nice big meal before we come next time. Right, Nick?
You know, I was wondering if I could just say just one little thing.
Sure, of course you can.
Oh, I love this part. I can't wait to hear it.
I'm getting goosebumps too.
Well then, here goes nothing.
I'll really have to work extra hard now. Master of Karine and the office manager of Wright & Co. law offices. And I have to be a good big sister to Pearlie and Nick, too. Well, as long as I'm not locked up or captured or something like that.
Oh, it's true. Mr. Nick really is Mystic Maya's knight in shining armor. He went through the special course all the way to the end. Actually, I heard there was a legendary extra special ultra course here too. I think I'll surprise the two of them by setting up a secret reservation.
Maggie bought me a brand new coat as a present, pal. I feel 10 years younger. I'll never take it off.
Yes, but somehow you just don't seem the same. I guess it's the dirty, shabby old overcoat of yours that makes it detective-like, sir.
Don't worry about it. In the name of love, a man will soil himself silly.
Mr. Wright, I'm once again in your debt. Thank you for the Treasure of Karine exhibit. It was a great success. I even got to see Miss Von Karma, who I haven't seen in almost a year. She taught me how to use a whip and said that I must show you what I've learned.
Desi and I started a company called Mass to Mass Consulting.
We dedicated to stopping the evil plans of all the criminals in the city.
Our motto is, cut it out, please. Oh,
Pretty cute, huh?
That was you, sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Well, we also still plan to send criminals side business. I wonder if that's okay. Sometimes I think maybe we're the worst criminals. I stole your line, I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, actually, no, it blends from one into the other.
Yeah.
I wanted to show my appreciation to Mr. Wright for exterminating Don Tigre, so I lent him $500,000. A special thank to you, unmixed by my own two hands. I bet he's drinking it now. Went through compromise.
Your veal is amazing, and I love her. Oh god.
I'm just an old and in the way, a wrinkly, grumpy, cloud-nosed waste of flesh. At least that's what I thought. But my grandkids had a birthday party for me the other day. Talk about embarrassing. 69 years old, nice, and I cried like a baby with a dirty diaper.
As usual, we have an abundance of work to do. We have hired a new programmer to replace Glenn Elg. I do hope everyone will get along. His name is Adam Mata. As soon as I heard the name, I knew that our brain circuits would align perfectly.
You functioning there, Siri?
No.
Bye, more reporters? Since the murder, we've made so much money, I hardly know what to do. I think the magazines like us because I provide such a nice visual, especially in spring. Can hardly wait for Iris to come back.
You've turned into such a respectable man, Fiend. It was so sweet of you and everyone else to come and here to visit me the other day. Of course, I was happy you constantly had your eye on me, but I felt sort of bad when the little one kept slapping you so hard your nose bled.
Random office worker at Capcom. Not even a joke. All of them are.
Yep.
Literally all of them were just people who worked on the localization. It's so funny because everyone calls their voice acting like legendary, but they're all just office workers. You can look all of them up. They worked for Capcom at the time. It wasn't until later games that they started getting bigger voice actors like Sam Riegel, Neri Lowenthal, and Orion Akaba. And God, Wendy Lee, that's like the biggest one. Bless you, David Crislip. Yes!
Here you go.
What's this? I'm back from a long and tiring vacation and no one is here to greet me? I guess while I was gone, my little whippersnapper buddy quit and now I've got no one. And what kind of lonely, crazy security room is this supposed to be anyway? What with all the flashing lights and switches, I feel like some sort of space alien. And now what am I going to do with all these macadamia nuts I brought back for everyone? If I bring them to Eshipu, I know exactly what he's saying. These up. I really can't accept these, I'm afraid, or something just as painful than fragile heart. Oh, will I ever find a gentleman who will like me as a refined lady?
Ma'am, you're married.
She was.
Or you were.
She was. I think he's dead.
Or divorced her.
Either one. I finally found something I love to do. Franzi's whippity whip trip is gonna turn the art world on its head. I should have realized it sooner. Self-centered, lazy, antisocial. I'm an artist. A really good portrait artist. I'm not a loser after all. Did Larry just attack you, Katie?
God damn it, Larry. I go away for a month and this is how you thank me for returning.
Oh, I love this graphic.
Mm-hmm.
Larry drew it. He's a very good fucking artist.
When he's not using crayon.
Mm-hmm. He remembered exactly what Mia looked like.
We did it!
Achievement unlocked. Bridge to the turnabout. Achievement unlocked. Alara only cries once it's over. We now have every single fucking achievement for these games.
Woohoo!
I platinumed it on PlayStation and I 100%ed it on Steam. Fuck yeah. How could he forget Basangas like hers? I don't know. She's got nice fucking titties.
So before we go into the after show, I will be right back.
Well, we gotta like wrap up episodes and stuff.
All right.
So, first off, just thoughts on the game really quick. Right? Or do you need to BRB?
I need to BRB.
Okay. I will pause and let you BRB.
Okay.
Pay no attention, YouTube. Okay, so... Ooh, magic. So, for... as for our thoughts about Trials and Tribulations, I don't have a lot to say because I don't have a lot of criticisms. And we kind of voiced things as they went.
Yeah, we did.
But JFA had so much that it all needed to be addressed at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think still overall out of the main 6, this is the best in the series. It's constantly fighting with 5 for my favorite, which is now a woke take, liking 5. Oh noes. But it's constantly fighting with 5 and 1. But I love all the odd numbered ones. But I do think that this one is by far the best in the trilogy. I think all the cases are solid. I don't think any of them really drag.
Because even with like the Tribulation case, the most dragging thing was just honestly getting the achievement for Jean's foreign language course. If we hadn't done that, it would have gone by a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So, there's like a weird theory out there about third case syndrome, but the only third case, and Katie and I talked about this on the phone, the only third case I don't enjoy in all 10 games, to be quite honest with you, is Turnabout Big Top. Third case syndrome is essentially the game always kind of slows to a crawl, it kind of loses its momentum, the third case is never really as good as the other ones, and it always kind of like, you kind of have to drag yourself through the third case to get into the rest of the game. And they apply that to all 10 games in the series, the duologies included. And I don't agree with like any of those really. Turnabout, as far as the main trilogy goes, Turnabout Samurai is, besides Farewell My Turnabout, is it's like one of my favorite like non-high stakes cases. I'll put it that way. It's one of my favorite like non-main cases. I think Turnabout Big Top is the only reason that there even is quote-unquote third case syndrome, and there are people who like Turnabout Big Top for reasons I don't understand, but hey, yeah, objectively, you like what you like. I mean, I'll just tell you I never understand you. That's all I can do. That's all I can do. I can't shit on you for it. You like what you like. So, and then case 3 in this was the Tribulation case, which can drag, but I really like Viola and Furio. I think if people don't really like the Tribulation angle, I think Viola and Furio are a really good way to mix things up, so they would keep people interested. Or like even going to see like Lisa Basil and everything.
Yeah.
Like there's enough that it sort of keeps you interested, and yeah, and I can't say anything about the third cases in other games because they're spoilers, but I don't think any of them apply to any of them. Katie and I literally went through every single game just to see if we agreed with third case syndrome, and we're all like, not really. Because if anything, you think the Tribulation case drags a little bit.
Yeah. But, I mean, this game also fucks me up with the case numbers, because I know we covered this already. But the Stolen Turnabout, I always think it's 2 different cases.
Oh, yeah, because it technically is.
Yeah, so I always get fucked up with, like, the numbering, and then I'm like, no, the Tribulation case is case number 4, and I'm like, no, there's not 6 cases in the fucking game. What am I fucking missing?
There's not 6 cases in any of the games, even though there kind of is in Investigations 2, kind of. They crammed 2 full-ass cases into one. And if anything, that would be another one I would say would be quote-unquote third case syndrome, but it's just like, even they're recommended a lot, especially on the Reddit. The YouTuber Slizer has done the Ace Attorney games multiple times in many different formats. And the third case in Investigations 2 is very fucking good. Very fucking good. It's the whole reason I was fucking screaming as to why it was never going to get localized. And fun fact, the reason, I'm gonna bring this up again, but the reason Investigations 2 is not getting a localization is because the team split up very shortly after the game was released in Japan. That's the real reason we're not getting a localization. They can't, the actual team that made the Investigations game split up, so they can't communicate. They can't get together and communicate with a localization team. So that's why. It's because they split up. That's something I read pretty recently from like an official Capcom statement. So they said that that was the reason it never really got localized. That and 4 and the first Investigations did get panned. For things we'll talk about when we get to 4 and Investigations. But, yeah, I mean, again, this was my first Ace Attorney game, so I love it to death. I don't see a lot of problems with it. I love the whole thing. I love Godot, which is now apparently also a hot take. It wasn't like 5 years ago, but it is now. Liking Godot is a hot take. So, hot take, I like Godot. I think the way the music built, I think the music compounded onto the first one very, very well. It took the original Cornered and built on that for a very good version of Cornered. The second game's music just felt very disjointed. It brought us like good Kurine music, but that was kind of it. A lot of it didn't, like the courtroom music especially, I brought this up in JFA, didn't feel like courtroom music. This took what was already established in the first game and built upon that. So, I think the music was just way better than the second game. And the storytelling is absolutely a giant chef's kiss, and this is why I say it's the best in the series. Every single case, they hang a little hint, a little clue, a little lampshade that you don't really recognize until you go through it another time. Knowing that Godot, Diego Armando, is the final culprit. It's not an easy, like, the final case itself is very challenging too, because you don't want him to be put away. He was protecting Maya. And it shows you just how fucked up and corrupt the system is. Because he was just defending Maya. He was saving her. And now he has to face a death penalty for it.
Yep.
But he was just defending the little sister, or like his girlfriend's little sister, from getting killed, and now he has to die for it. It's incredibly fucked up, and I love that your last cross-examination is Maya, who you've never cross-examined before, and she's in a very delicate state the whole time. And I mean, Nick had to do what Mia couldn't. Mia couldn't put him away. Mia knew the truth. Mia loved him. Mia couldn't do it.
Yep.
But it adds to Mia's backstory. The whole framing devices used in this are fantastic. The lampshades and hints used are really good. How Godot never noticed the ketchup stain. How the statue of Ami Faye was in the Mask to Mask case. How the Shishito showed up there and got bent up and everything, and you just think it's not gonna play a major role again. It's already played a role, so surprise when it's the murder weapon, quote unquote, when it was used to desecrate the body. Like, holy crap, like, just the hints that are sprinkled throughout are so good, and you just kind of need to be paying attention the whole time. They made it so you had to kind of pay attention to every case instead of just kind of zoning out for the unrelated story cases, which I think was very smart on Capcom's behalf. I think it's one of the best cases of storytelling they've ever done. I would say the other two that rival it are Investigations 2 and Daigyakuten 2.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of storytelling, I think those are the only other two games that really bring really bring the heat with this kind of storytelling. So, yeah. Any other thoughts you have about 3?
No, not really.
How high is it for you?
It's up there. It's one of my favorites.
One of them? I just mean of the main entries, too. I don't mean of, like, the,
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
The duologies. I just mean 6, not 10.
It's a toss-up between 1 and 3 for me.
As your favorite?
Yeah.
1, 3, and 5. I'm juggling. All the time. Although that will go into the next YouTube video. There's a fun little thing Katie and I will do anytime we finish a trilogy or a duology.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a survey that it's like a 30-day challenge essentially that we've just repurposed into like a little thing, and there's chat participation, so chat is free to answer as well. I would love to hear what chat thinks, actually. So look forward to that next episode. Same streaming session, but next episode. So thank you guys so much for watching. You may have noticed there was a delay in this coming out. We are terribly sorry about that.
Yeah, I got the illness that shall not be named from someone who is very careless in my family, so I'm just now recovering.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna leave that up to you.
Yep.
All I said on social media was that Maud lost her voice. But yeah. That was, I mean, you did lose your voice. That wasn't a lie.
No, I had absolutely no voice.
Yep. I was very upset. So, yeah, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate you guys waiting a month for this final thing to come out. Again, I do see the views on YouTube. I really appreciate it. Like, it doesn't get a ton, but it gets views, and I like it. You know, I like that people are invested in it. It makes us both happy. So thank you guys so much. We are not done with Ace Attorney yet. We are not people who just call it the trilogy and then go. Oh, no. We are doing all 10 fucking games. It's going to be this time next year when we're in Daigakuten. So, yeah, we will be back. I think next, there's still a lot of things up in the but I think next with Investigations.
Yes.
It's either that or Daigakuten. We either have to pivot and do Daigakuten or Investigations. We are in it for the long haul. So,
Yes, we are.
thank you guys so much. And this has been Danny.
And Katie.
We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.